Welcome to the Beverage Click podcast, the only podcast where we discuss drinking trends with an Asian perspective. I'm your resident host, Sean O, certified beverage specialist and co-founder of the Beverage Click Academy in Singapore and Malaysia. And here is this month's episode. Hey, my drinking comrades, you're tuned in to the Beverage Click podcast, and this is another installment of our Sommelier mini-series, where we showcase Singapore's working sommeliers, the people doing it night after night, at serious venues in real service. Today's guest is Reuben Khew, currently at Burnt Ends, one of the most demanding rooms in Singapore, where the food is powered by fire, smoke, char, and intensity, and that changes the rules of pairing completely. If you've been with us for a while, you remember I previously interviewed Neil Claudio back in 2022. Since then, Neil has moved into broader leadership. Now, head of beverage, managing multiple projects, so this episode is intentionally different. This is not Burnt Ends Philosophy Part 2. This is the on-the-floor craft, how a head sommelier executes, trains a team, handles pace, and still keeps the guest experience relaxed. And for me personally, this one hits close. Reuben is an Academy alumni, and it's honestly heartening to watch his rise. He performed strongly at the Singapore National Sommelier Competition, taking second runner-up in 2021, and he's also represented Singapore in the Best Sommelier in French Wines Asia circuit. So today, we're talking about leveling up. The mindset, the discipline, the pressure, and the small decisions that separate good service from great service, especially in a fire-driven restaurant like Burnt Ends. All right, let's go. Welcome back, my drinking comrades. And today we are back to a location whereby it's quite familiar because we previously did an episode here many years ago with Neil. Today we are back here at Burnt Ends with Reuben Khew.
Hello. Nice to meet you again.
Yeah, good to see you again. It's been a while since I talked to you. I know you moved from Restaurant Zen to Burnt Ends. How long has it been?
Right now it's about 3 months already.
3 months.
I just hit the 3 months today actually. So.
Oh, here's your 3-month mark? Okay, good to know. Just for my drinking comrades out there, what's your day-to-day as a head som at Burnt Ends like? The kind of invisible work that you usually do that the guests actually never see.
I think we'll talk about the day-to-day first. I think that one, I guess most guests would see, we're on the floor doing the service, getting the best hospitality that we can offer, and recommending the best food with the best wines and the best tastes and flavors together, all that. I think that's obviously very seen. And on a more of a back invisible kind of work that I do, I definitely edit the list a lot. So there's a lot of things that goes behind that. It's all placed very stylistically and very intentionally as well. And then obviously a lot of the meetings that is scheduled for events, wine dinners, training of my team as well. So all these are very might be small, but I think it's little details that matters that go into the big picture.
Okay. Well, how often do you actually change the list? Because you say that there is quite a bit of a revamp and refresh of the list.
Technically, every service we can change it. I won't go so far to change it every service, but at the start of a new month, there's a huge planning to do new wine features or new by the list and things like that. For example, for February, we did Lewin Estate for a feature, a winery feature.
Oh, nice.
Because they did come down as well to do a wine dinner with us. This month, in March, we're doing Tasmania. We're going to feature Tasmania actually. So Wine Tasmania is going to be doing a wine dinner with us in the later part of the month.
Very cool.
And yeah, I had a whole page featured out for very underrated Tasmanian region, I would say.
Right. And for the listeners who are first time listening, Burnt Ends is focused largely on Australian wine.
Correct.
Yes.
So for our still wines, it's 100% Australian wines. Many people are surprised by that. But I always say there is a producer out there that will make a style from Australia that is catered to either Italian or French or whatever style you're looking for. We are here to recommend it to you.
Yeah, I have no doubt that the Australian wines are good because personally I love Australian wines a lot. So I can fully appreciate what you guys are doing here. Now, more about you. You started in the kitchen. What does that change from back of house to front of house? Mean for somebody like you? What has things or philosophy has changed along the way?
I think my philosophy, I wouldn't say it hasn't changed. I think the big jump or why I did it was because of my huge interest in learning histories, cultures of the world. So yes, food is a great link to that, but I feel like beverages linked into history even more. For example, if you just touch on sakes, you get into such deep why they had sake making or beers, how it came about, distillations, how it came about, and then kind of read all these things. It's a great story to share with guests and anyone actually. So that's a big jump of why I did that. But on a day-to-day basis, I feel like coming from the kitchen, from a burger house, I have a lot of experience in understanding how the food structure works, how fat works, how flavor works, something like that. So it's easier for me to do pairings in that sense. It kind of clicks to me really, really quickly.
Okay, oh, that's good to know. Yeah, and I think being caught between two worlds actually helps you with your job.
Correct, yeah. And I understand the logistics of how things goes as well. So it's a bit easier on it.
Yeah, I can understand that. So you moved from place to place from the time I knew you, we were like Odette, right? Was Odette, 3 Michelin star, Odette from Prelim, you guys were, yeah, you go way back. And then
We went in Prelim actually. Yeah, so that's a long time ago.
yeah, that's quite a while ago. And there's obviously restaurants then. Different places, different concepts. Has it kind of translate to your work here in Burnt Ends?
Definitely. I think in my first month here, actually, I really felt like, wow, I have learned all these things that I picked up and I really can apply it in Burnt Ends. So I would say for Prelim, my very first place, and I always give thanks to Gerald. He has taught me like so much and really, really appreciate his works. I would say Prelim taught me an extremely strong foundation and base in wines, in again the history of wines and how everything kind of works together. And he did teach me a lot of opportunities to meet suppliers and develop like a sort of small PR skills. I used to be extremely shy and very reserved before, but now I'm like that too. I'll thank him for that as well. Moving on to Odette, obviously is going to fine dining scene, so that was where the little details came into play. Little details, how to look more refined. That's why I worked on the back end kind of costings a little bit here and there. I developed a more stronger food pairing ideas innovation. So that's what I got mostly into that. Then was extremely innovative, I would say. So that's where I learned a lot about sakes, a lot about varieties of beverages, not just wines anymore. So sake, ciders, beers, different dessert wines, beverage pairings more like different than wine pairing. So that's where I kind of put a lot of that beverage pairing into what I can use in Burnt Ends, because I am available to use cocktails here, wines here, sakes here, which is great for Burnt Ends food. Yeah. So all these little things as I go through my journey in Korea, definitely can use it in my career in Burnt Ends. So it's very thankful for everybody.
A bit of shout out to Gerald. Gerald, you hear this? Yeah, this is to you. Big mentor to most people. Right, yeah, I can see how different places have kind of influenced your thought process, especially when it comes to different beverages. Different beverages really is quite multifaceted.
Yes. And I feel like a lot of, okay, I'm not for sure, but I think a lot of sommeliers still stick to wines in the pairings especially. Whereas, yeah, there's a lot more things to play with out there. But then again, some guests prefer to stick to one beverage because of the hangovers and things like that.
Yeah, which I think is a myth. I don't think that you drink enough of water to begin with.
True.
Yeah. Okay. Burnt Ends clearly being a little bit more food that is fire charred.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the concept. But
yeah. So fire driven. Yeah. Fire driven food. Yeah. Being fire driven, are there top 3 pairing problems that you might face, when it comes to pairing, or is there a go-to solution every single time that you have it?
For problems, I would say usually when people want or prefer like lean whites or the really heavy food, they really tend not to be great together. Honestly, yeah, my go-to solution here is just sake, right? Extremely goes hand in glove with our food here. So many of our dishes work well with sake and the different styles of sake that we offer as well. Yeah, so like we have the Yamaha style, we have the German Daginjo, we have some Nigori as well. It's great to go with a lot of our food here. I would say sake is a very good flavor leverage that I have in here. If guests that only wants wine, obviously I already said in Australia, there's so many different styles that we can work with and we have that we can do for pairings or for by the glass or whatsoever. Or even like if you want to have a bottle to work. We have many magnums as well that whichever work nicely with the food for a big crowd to go with that. I wouldn't say that's much of a big problem here. Products that we bring in cater to them easily. Yeah.
You already have like a go-to solution because there's just so many things to offer and alternatives.
Right. Yeah, and that's just the thing that I work with. Like obviously there's the bartenders that we can always do a bespoke beverage for the customized flavor profile with the food whatsoever as well. Yeah.
Okay, good to know. Are there like signature pairings that you have here? Something in your pocket that you're like, okay, this is the first time in Burnt Ends, I've got to get them to taste this because this is
sure. I think there's 2 big ones. Again, going back to sake on this, there's a dish that we have is eggplant miso. So it's like a caramelized aioli with miso on the bottom, with a bit of tempura battered eggplant, finished with a bit of like dried chili flakes. I paired it with like Terada Honke, the Daigo no Shizuku. Yeah, so it's really, that's the bow tie model style actually. Really interesting. Get a bit more savory out of it, and then it works well with the sake. We look at the miso, sorry, and then a bit of the sweetness to go with the overall dish. Really good together. Another one is more classic. I would say we have king crab with the butter sauce, bit of capers, bit of hazelnuts as well. Sorry, not hazelnuts, bit of capers. That one works really well with chutney that we have. So it's from Margaret River. It's called Domaine Naturalist. It's from this. Is the name of the chutney is called Artus. Yeah, it's this Margaret River style. Really nice. Oh, that goes well with the butter sauce, and then that clean acidity to help with the texture of the crab and all that.
Okay,
Really
wow.
good.
Okay,
Make you hungry?
yeah. And I'm on a diet, and you just make me hungry. Well, that's not easy to do. All right, good to know. So if a guest says that, okay, I just want a bowl red. So what are your two fastest follow-up questions that you ask them?
I just want a bold red. Fastest follow-up question, I'll be like, probably, would you prefer a younger vintage or more back vintage, kind of more complexity in that sense? So depending on their answer, if they want a back vintage kind of style, I do have plenty of back vintage Tobrek run rigs. That is excellent.
Okay.
I think that would be excellent. Yeah, that would be great. But of course they want like a younger styles, I do have lots of Lewins as well. Lewin Estate Art Series, Cabernets, some Shirazes that we have exclusive as well. Yeah, those are just a few producers that we have.
Good to know. I mean, with the team seemingly getting bigger and bigger, we were having this conversation before the podcast started. So how do you actually coach them and make things consistent? Is there a simple framework that you use to ensure that they sell the wines genuinely but not pushy?
I think it's also answering the question to where I worked before. So I picked up this kind of framework from Zen. We had to build up like a website together with like kind of the songs anyways to kind of like structure a framework within the team. So I kind of picked that up and then I framed it into little tweak on it, on my take on it. I'm kind of like coaching my Soms now. We're doing like a weekly meeting. Every week we'll have like a producer in-depth training. We'll go into like obviously where they're from, what the grapes they grow, a little bit of history, and then what kind of fermentations they go through or their philosophy and things like that into the pairings and the service style. So that's a little framework that in terms of how I get them to sell, this is a line that I have to state. It's like, recommend, don't convince. Yeah, don't convince, I guess.
Don't confuse them either. Huh?
That's the song for us, but yeah, don't convince, I guess, for something he doesn't want just to make a bigger sale. I feel like just have a good hospitality, have a good recommendation. Doesn't have to be the cheapest bottle out there or whatsoever, but just make sure you get the feel of how they are feeling. Yeah, have a good sense of personality with them, rapport, and then yeah, just build it off that. So I think that's really down to your own personality. I can't coach that anymore. I can give you this advice, but bring in your own personal touch to the guests.
Okay. For those listeners who don't know, actually, Reuben is already an advanced sommelier with the Court Master. Congrats on that. Something that I haven't aspired to be yet, but who knows, one day.
Pages on your apron.
Yeah. Or maybe one day. You were also a winner for the local sommelier competition.
Runner up, yeah. First finalist.
Finalist. Oh, the winner part is going to come soon enough. So the winner part is going to come soon enough. Is this something that your training has changed about your palate or your service ever since then?
Yeah, I think training for the advanced som, or rather lately, as my palate grows or whatsoever, I think my training and my palate has gone a lot more quiet. I don't really like jump into a conclusion as I used to before. I think maybe it can be a same comparison or reference to any young blood, right? You're super passionate and interested in the industry or whatsoever. You just jump out at something really quickly. But as you go on and get wiser or more mature, you kind of take a step back. You think, oh, what options do I have before jumping onto it? So yeah, I said my palate's gone a bit more quiet. It has a lot more calm, a lot more calculated in what I feel right now. But yeah, I think in terms of like for competition training, again, Gerald used to tell me when you started off, you can get it really quickly because you don't have a lot of library, wine or beverage library. But when you drink so many things, you taste so many things, there are a lot more styles that can be something else. So there's a very thin fine line in terms of tasting things right now.
The more you taste, the more you don't know.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. The more you know, the more you don't know.
All of us. Happens to all of us.
Yeah.
I've got one more question. It's a bit spontaneous, but given that you have such a wide library of drink choices, alternatives here. Is there something in your portfolio that you feel that out of these few months that you've been, maybe it could be something that you could explore and look into?
Yeah, actually, so recently I've been very, very, very into 100% Grenaches from old vines. I mean, obviously people are into Burgundy, right? And Pinot Noirs and all that nowadays. I feel like this is an excellent alternative. I have three off the top of my head in my portfolio. One of them is from Eddie McDougall. Yeah, the flying winemaker. So he has 100% Grenache that he does such well wine. Almost, I would say it's like a Pinot Noir, but a little bit more structure into that. Then we have another one from Thistledown, The Sense of Kings. That's a good one. So a little more fruity in a sense. I can compare it to maybe like a Chambolle in a way. I think this is a huge recent interest for me. In the 100% Grenaches on a spontaneous question for you.
No, I think it's a good point. You're definitely speaking my language because Grenache is something that I was looking at because I haven't really been drinking lots of big bold reds of late, and then Pinots are just way too expensive.
Correct, yeah. Right. The prices are going a bit out of hand now.
Yeah, exactly. And Grenache seems to offer that midway point that are able to offer value with the right kind of flavor and palate profile.
Correct, yeah.
Okay,
so you look at for sure.
Okay, good to know, good to know. All right, I think we've probably come to an end to the session. Again, thank you very much for taking the being on part of this podcast episode, and I hope to try the food here soon.
Okay. But yeah, my brother, I'll see you. Yeah,
right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.